Hello, all, and welcome to the Sci-Fi and Fantasy Sorry, the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. I'm your host Daniel Coolbaugh. Today, I have me a very special guest, Arlo Z. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. I'm so sorry. I really had to cough there. I was trying to not do it. We have a very wild weather going on in my location in central New York right now. It's like hot, cold, and all the allergy stuff is like in the air. But I appreciate you coming on today and chatting with us about, your writing experience and your books, and can't wait to get started and to ask you some questions, and hopefully we can all learn some stuff along the way. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So we'll start right there with that first question. What has your writing journey been like up until this point?
Well, there's a long version and a short version. I'm gonna try to give you the short
Oh, you
version.
give me whatever you want.
I've always wanted to be a writer. Well, since I understood that a person could be a writer, that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't write at the time. Like I've got that super delayed uh reading ability. So I was very much the special ed kid. I couldn't read until I was mid-teens.
Mm,
Around 15, 16 is when I read my first chapter book. It
mm.
was the Dark Elf trilogy by R.A. Salvatore,
Oh, I love that
and
trilogy.
it's so good. And I
Yeah,
wrote to
so
him,
good.
I wrote him fan mail, and he wrote me back encouraging me to
So
like
cool.
keep writing and never give up. And it's like I credit him. I'm like,
That's
you like
amazing. I love Bob.
gave me hope.
Yeah, yeah,
And
he's amazing.
yeah, so that was very pivotal. But God, I think I started writing by hand on paper very poorly before I could really read meaningfully. So it was
Mm.
potentially not actual words. I don't know. I probably have some of that somewhere. Jump ahead. I ended up going to college for creative writing, thinking that that would help me get into the industry. It did not. I've done most of my skill honing since college, and I would say the defining moment for me is I was walking across the Safeway parking lot and somebody called out to me, "Hey, I love your coat." And I turned around and was like, "Thank you." And she came up to me and said, "You look like you walked right out of a fantasy book. I would know I'm a fantasy author." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Would you be willing to let me pick your brain sometime? And long story short, we became friends. Her name's Lillian
Oh, that's cool.
Cernica. She's an awesome writer, and she got me started using Duotrope and helped me like understand how to form like put a submission package together
Oh, that's
and
cool.
really just like mentored me through that. And she invited me to a convention where I did my first live pitch to a publisher, and that's where I made my
Oh,
first sale of a standalone piece.
oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. Uh, I always talk about that. Like, if you can, very lucky. I feel like if you can find somebody to help you, but I also think that it's like the industry now, particularly like there's so many people you can ask, and it doesn't really necessarily have to be indie. I've asked traditional authors all the time, just like for research tips. Or Kevin Hearn's always great. I love his Iron Druid Chronicle book, so I want to do something similar in my urban fantasy. So I've asked him questions for years, like on X or something like that. He doesn't even say like, I'm like, "Hey Kevin, how's it going?" He's not like, "Oh God, this guy again," right? He just like answers my question and to the best of his ability. And yeah, I think like anytime, like I had Logan D. Irons, friend of mine, and HL Tinsley, like they did my alpha reading. And I was asking for people, and they're like, "Hey, do you still have anybody?" I'm like, nobody said yes, so sure, except for like three of my friends. I was like, "Yes, you got it," and they did it. Both did an amazing job. So I think like any time that you can find somebody to help you in the industry for anything really is really cool. But I also think people forget to ask for things. I tend to forget to ask for things too. I did this to help people and to maybe use the platform to help my own career, and then I always forget I have my own career. I just like if you're like, "Hey, what do you need?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do I need right now?" So I think it's just good to remember like everybody's here just waiting to help, and everybody loves to use their own knowledge, right, to help new people be successful. So I love when a podcaster like messages me or like asks me a question. I'm like, "Please let me be your Obi-Wan, like, or your Yoda, or anything like that." So I think that's super cool that you're able to find somebody to help you like that. That's like really, really neat. That's a cool story.
Yeah, once that first person found me, it's been a very welcoming community.
No, it's awesome. Well, I'm really happy
Yeah.
to hear that. That's super cool. Do you mind if I ask, like, what book you were able to sell,
Black
with that pitch?
Rose.
Oh, that's cool.
It's sitting next to me.
I
It's it's a weird Western.
love that.
Um,
Actually,
it's
when you
my
emailed me, you were like weird Western. I got to that point because I was like, I always like skim, right? Because I had like 500 that, which was I'm very thankful for because I don't even have to like ask people anymore. People are contacting me and it's like where you want to be. And yeah, when I got to Weird Western, wherever it was in your email, I was like, yes, please. Like it's like totally like Clayton Snyder wrote a great Weird Western. It's like a conglomeration, Cold West, and it was like one of my favorite books like I've read. So I was like, yep, Weird Western done. So
Oh,
that's
cool. Yeah, it's a labor of love. That for this one, Black Rose. The pitch was it's Van Helsing meets Tombstone, but it's had 4 times the recommended dose of Robitussin.
that's
And
awesome.
I'm very pleased with how she turned out. It's
Yeah.
bonkers cuckoo. The guns talk.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so it's kind of got that sword and sorcery vibe. And
Yeah.
I think there might have actually been a question about it further down the list. I can't read my screen the
Oh,
distance
it's
that
fun.
I'm away from it. So I'm like, there might be a question about Black Rose, in which case I'll hold off.
I think so too, but I also did like 20 of you. I did 88. Well, like the first and last question are the same, but or like the first like yeah, two and then the last one. So I don't know at this point too. We're just gonna find out together, but I
All
believe so.
right.
I had a couple of you guys that were so close in genre. I had like I did them at the same time. So I had to think about it before we got started. I was like, is this person? Like but no, I was like able to on my meeting, I like pulled up your socials again. I was like, no, we're here. We're good. So, because I totally thought like I had messed up today and had somebody else, but I felt good seeing the questions. I was like, I was actually right where I needed to be. We had yesterday off, so this is like Monday, day two,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
it's always great, but my kids at school can't ever handle it. So it's always like the craziest day. And today was just like that. But yeah, some Weird West just sounds like absolutely amazing to me. I'm a huge Western fan. I always wanted to be a cowboy. So when I discovered like Han Solo and you could be a space cowboy, I was like, or Buck Rogers or any of them, I was like, yeah, please sign me up. So yeah, Weird West and Weird Westerns are definitely my thing. So, but that's such a
Ooh,
cool way of pitching your book. So maybe you could do like a pitching lesson for us at some point and we can do that. That's really cool.
the same author, Lillian Cernica, really worked with me on pitching. And it's one of the
Oh, that's
things like
cool.
when I'm late at night, my brain is mush from the day. I'll sit down and open a document and just practice pitches because I'm so
Great idea.
naturally bad at it that I just every day I'm just trying new things.
Yeah. It's funny. I just talked to an author. He's like, "Yeah, I wrote 800 pages," and then somebody asked me to pitch it. He goes, "I don't know what to say." It was like epic fantasy. So, yeah, we were talking a little bit about that. So that's really funny. Well, that's really cool. I actually just became like, I think I just started following her on Instagram a few months ago, actually. Um, yeah, and I do remember like she pitched really well. Like I can't remember if it was like one of the ads or if it was a video or what, but I was like, oh yeah, this is like that was like the first thing I saw. I was like, yeah, this is definitely like my kind of author. So that's funny that you guys know each other. It's like a small world. So that's really cool. Well, speaking of weird westerns and genres, so what genre or genres do you currently write in and why?
So my through line is weird. I don't necessarily start a story knowing what genre it's going to be. I just kind of
Cool.
go with the vibe
Yeah.
and then try to figure it out later. Some people have had to tell me after the fact what genre it is, but I tend to be working in horror. So like the Weird Western is kind
Oh,
of
cool.
horror flavored. So like horror, fantasy, uh, creative nonfiction. Those are the ones I tend to gravitate towards the most. I also write essays, so like just straight nonfiction, but like weird and sentient object is a through line. So even in my memoir pieces that are like 100% true stories, for example, one of them is about my house, which is it was an abandoned cabin, like literally it was an abandoned cabin.
Oh,
And I wrote a story about him. His name's Gerald. And I make him talk in the story. And it's like you can
oh, that's
probably
cool.
tell reading it that he's not actually talking, but I give him a voice. So like that's very much my through line. I love
Mm.
like animism, like the idea that
Yeah,
objects have us, like the more you interact with an object, the more soul, I guess, it can acquire. Like that very much shows
yeah,
up in my work in different ways, but very
that's
much
really cool.
speculative fiction.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I like that. I just started listening to the first like couple chapters of A Gutter Prayer, and there was like the first chapter is essentially like they're in this like kind of Capitol building or like courthouse or law house or whatever, and but it's not through the character's perspective. It's through the perspective of the building they're in, and I thought that was very similar and such a cool idea. I was like, it
Oh, I
gave my
love
writer
that.
brain. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? And like, you got to think, right? Like, what's a building's perspective versus a human's perspective? And the perspective of, I'm totally blanking on the author, but great book so far. But like, it really made me think about things differently. And I'm reading Faith Hunter's Jane Yellow Rock, like the first one, Skinwalker, and she actually does something that I'm considering because I always thought it was interesting with how if you like she has like she's like a shifter or whatever and she's got like a cat spirit. I promise this is relevant audience. So but her chapters for her when she's in spirit form are written not in English but with like how a cat might understand English. And it's
Mm.
like, yeah, so it like adds to the character development, right? Is like, here's Jane, here's what she says and thinks, and they think very differently. It's like so interesting. So I had that recently and a gutter prayer doing that type of thing where the longer the buildings are there, they tend to like the way like chapter one like was that the building, like had been there for so long, like you could tell, right? Like new things popped up or new humans arrived or whatever. It was just really interesting. So I love that concept because that's I'm actually experiencing that in a couple different books for like really like kind of like think the first time where I never picked up on it before. Maybe these two authors just, did it in a more unique way where I'm actually noticing. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to experience that. So sounds right up my alley. And I love those types of things. So horror and anytime someone mixes like I always tell people like this says fantasy and sci-fi, but it's actually horror has some sort of whether it's sci-fi elements, alien, or has some sort of supernatural or fantasy elements, whether it's spirits or whatever, right? Undead, something like that. So to me, like horror fits perfectly, and I couldn't fit horror on the logo, so it was too restrictive space. So I always just consider that part of fantasy personally and sci-fi, but that's super cool. What like really attracts you to like speculative fiction?
I think because I can talk about issues and problems that are too painful to talk about otherwise.
Mm,
I think that's it.
that's a good answer.
I can come at for oh gosh, yeah, for me, like whether I'm reading or writing, I think speculative fiction can be so powerful to help both a writer and an audience get closer to something that otherwise might be too painful or like
Yeah.
too egregious, like just
Mm,
too much maybe. And putting that
yeah.
speculative element, you can both create like a separation between the reader and the issue, but you can also get them closer and
Yeah.
maybe make it more relatable.
Mm. That's a good answer. I was just curious. My developmental editor Sarah Chorn, I had her on previously this season, and she writes speculative fiction. So I always love to see where people are at, why they like write their particular genre. Because we have some people here that might be watching or listening that maybe they want to write and they don't know, right? And maybe they've never thought about speculative fiction, and maybe they're struggling to write in other areas, but maybe speculative fiction would fit for them better. So just something for people to think about based off of our authors and creatives advice. So I think that's really cool, though. That's a great answer. Now we get to go to the best part about my day and this podcast, what keeps me going. We'll go to that third question. So, what is your book Black Rose about, and how'd you come up with this idea?
All right, so I already gave you the pitch. I'll give you the short history of Black Rose. I've got her again. She's backwards. And the
Let's go down this end.
totally related. The revolver on the cover was painted by Kendra Hope, and the revolver is sitting about six
Oh,
or
that's
7 feet
awesome.
away from me on the bookshelf.
That's
She's a
cool.
Colt 45 Buntline Special. All right, so when I was about 17, I was obsessed with the movie Van Helsing. It's
Oh, I
it's
love that
it's
movie.
it's so silly, but I was so into it, but I was also obsessed with the movie Tombstone with Kurt Russell.
Oh, I get
And
that too.
I wrote 20 pages of this crossover fan fiction where Van Helsing has to go to the US and it's like the Old West and he's hunting this person who has Wyatt Earp's revolver. But
Oh, that's
then
cool.
for some reason the revolver is a character and has like motivation of her own. I only wrote 20 pages and they're very bad. I still have them. And for some unhinged reason, my dad loved it. He's like, "Oh my God, like magical Western, Monster Hunter, like that's so cool." He's like, "You gotta write it." And so through the decades, I'm slowly working towards a writing career. And every time I hit any kind of a milestone or just am talking about a story, he's like, "When are you going to write Black Rose?" Because the gun was named Black Rose. He's like,
Oh,
"When
that's
are you going to
awesome.
write?" He's like, "When are you going to write Black Rose? When are you going to write Black Rose?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so stupid. Like the gun talks. Like this is so unhinged." And then in 2020, we're in coastal California and we went through the CZU lightning complex fire.
Oh, geez.
And my parents got back into the neighborhood with the neighbors. And I can't remember how many neighbors there were, five. I think five neighbors, and my parents, that's seven people. One of them like took a tractor and like started cutting a fire break because the fire was like coming down the hill towards where our houses
Mm.
are. And my dad drug, he was 70 years old at the time. My parents have a fire pump and a hose, and he drug the hose up the hill to where our cabin is, the old creepy abandoned shack thing we've rebuilt. And he held the fire hose raining water onto this shack while the forest literally 15 feet behind
Oh,
it burned because they got Cal Fire to do the back burn right there, and that's where they ended up drawing the line for the fire.
wow.
And there were pieces of other houses falling onto our roof as my dad's like watering the house. And after that, and it's like because of these seven people, the rest of the houses in the neighborhood were saved.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I've got to do something. I've got to give my dad something that
Oh,
like
that's cool.
no one else can give him. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God darn it, I'm gonna have to write that stupid book. And then my friend Lillian was like, there's nothing too stupid. She's like, what if you framed it like it was dead serious? And that's what made it work. I'm like, it just all came together. And I think I wrote the rough draft in like 14 to 16 days or something. And then it went through a lot
Wow,
of
that's crazy.
rewrites.
No, yeah, yeah,
But it was all just like this is such a stupid concept, and there were like these little nuggets that I wanted to keep from the original fan fiction. Like there's a scene where the monster hunter is in a gunfight with this like pale like silver-haired wraith thing with the big
yeah.
old
That's cool.
gun, and that the gun talked. That was an element. And it most of it took place at night with like this weird miscolored moon. And then my dad was a train mechanic, so I'm like, I've got to put trains in
Oh,
this
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
And framing it absolutely serious was the way to go. And it all
Yeah.
just came together.
That's super cool. I think the
Yeah.
original idea was really good too. I'm like, I would still read that.
It very much has that vibe. It's like it's kind of like
Yeah.
a monster hunter type figure going through the old west, and he's hunting, he's trying to track down the cursed revolver of that used to belong to Wyatt Earp because it's the only weapon that can kill this train monster that's rampaging through the west. And
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the twists. It's a very short book. It's a novella, but it has a couple of twists that I'm very pleased with.
Uh, well, I have it added to my 2026 reading list. I'm like a year behind because like 2 years ago my son was born and it was a very long and drawn out process during and then after. So yeah, I was like, I gotta cut something out. So it was like very, very slow reading that year. So I'm like, I always say I'm like a year behind my podcast. So but yeah, I definitely up my alley. I absolutely love Van Helsing. And when I saw that, I thought Hugh Jackman just made the most roguish monster hunter. And I love that there's like little periods of comedy in there and that there's there's like things I would definitely laugh about it now, right? It was like like they were serious for the time for mid 2000s, right? But not quite. But still, those like everybody, all the monsters and stuff were still the vampire fan, like the three vampires, right? Like the female vampires, they were so terrifying, I think, and they just like popped out at different times. Like I just love
Yeah.
that vibe and the feel of yeah, like that time period. Like, and then the mechanisms he used too, I thought were just like super super cool. I cannot tell you because we're on air for this pre-recorded episode. But there is a thing that I love that they did in that movie that I thought it stuck with me so much that I am actually adding it as a particular theme and a major event that happens in my urban fantasy series. But
Oh,
it's
that's so
literally,
cool.
yeah, I'll have to email it to you or something after we get done. But yeah, like that movie influenced completely on that, like Jack Reacher and Justin Hartley's like Tracker on CBS, like totally influenced my urban fantasy, my first like character I'm unveiling. But if it wasn't for that movie though, and them doing such a great job, I wouldn't have two of my main characters for two different urban fantasy series. So that was
Oh,
like
that's
just
so
a
cool.
it's an amazing movie, but that's such a cool story though, and I totally agree. Like that was the only gift you could give your dad that would match that type of action. So I think that in itself is a really cool story. But I do want to just point out with fan fiction though, like and my audience members will be like, oh man, we've been talking about fan fiction a lot, but like I think I used to do, speaking of Bob or R.A. Salvatore, I used to do Forgotten Realms fan fiction. I thought that they were actual books or stories, but it was Forgotten Realms fan fiction. That didn't turn into other stuff for me later. So I think fan fiction is awesome because you know the world, you can write in it and add new stuff. And I think it's a great way of, transferring those types of skills. So I'm actually having my students do some fan fiction for some things just to pick something that they enjoy to try and teach them, right? That the creative process is sometimes easier when you go with things and then we'll add some.
Absolutely. I love fan fiction. Like I said, I think writing fan fiction and just playing kind of in those sandboxes was really
Yeah.
formative for me. I think I've actually written Drizzt Do'Urden fan fiction. And I've cosplayed Drizzt Do'Urden. So
Oh, that's cool. That's
we've
super
got a
cool.
shared history right here.
Oh, that's super cool. I have to ask though, so if you had an opportunity out of any universe to write in, like which one would you choose and why?
You know, a long time ago, I really wanted to write in the Star Wars universe. I
I
like
get that.
really I went through a phase and I'm like, I really want to write in here. But honestly, I think if somebody handed me a blank thing and was like, pick a universe, write a story, I would probably have to go Treasure Planet, even though that's very niche.
That's so good.
It's
That's
so good.
so
But
good.
I
How
know
have
an
they
author.
not done a live action yet? Like you picked Moana, I get it's a great movie, but like Treasure Planet deserves a
So
live
good.
action. Sorry, Moana
But
was a bad example. That one was really good, but I don't know. It wasn't. I love the original Aladdin. Was not a fan of the new one.
or Pirates
And
of the
no, no.
Caribbean. I think I would love
Yeah.
writing in the Pirates of the Caribbean
Oh,
universe.
that would be cool. Why would you want to do
Uh,
that one?
because I love nautical
Mm.
fantasy. I have several
Oh, good.
pieces that are all like varying degrees of nautical fantasy or nautical horror.
Oh,
That
that's
is
cool.
something that I just keep circling back to. But
Oh, that's super cool.
just an anecdote. I know an author named Natalie Kelda who wrote books in a Treasure Planet like universe, and they're super cool.
Oh, that's cool. I have to go check her out. That sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get over Treasure Planet. Like
Oh,
everybody
so
talks
good.
about Firefly, I totally get it, but
No, Treasure Planet. Oh my
Treasure
God.
Planet was my original Firefly, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh yeah,
I thought it
same,
was
same.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. I had HM Long on here twice. She the first time she was thinking about my first interview with her, she was thinking of doing something like fantasy, like nautical stuff, and then it was so cool. Then she had done it, and then the second time I interviewed her, we talked about like books one and two. Then it's like her Pirates, our Daughter of Dark Water, was book one. But yeah, I even Forgotten Realms, right? Like Bob writes really well nautical scenes,
He
right?
does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like not in that original trilogy with like Homeland and stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
later on though, like him and Canterbury or yeah, like they're going with Captain Dumont or whatever, however you say his name. Yeah, like that like made me love him and Mel Odom made me love like their nautical fantasy adventures. So if you wrote in it, I would totally read that. That sounds really cool. So,
Yeah, I have my
um,
my fantasy trilogy has the first one doesn't have a lot of nautical stuff, but there's nautical stuff coming up. I have a horror um novella coming out from Graveside
okay.
Press early next year that is just straight nautical horror.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's
Ooh,
very
that's cool.
claustrophobic, which I was really proud of that. I didn't realize it was going to be so like, but they're all in this like little ship and they're
Yeah, yeah,
stuck
yeah.
with each other.
I won't make. I'll read it, but I won't make my old co-teacher read it because he's very claustrophobic. So that's like his phobia. Mine's snakes, so I totally get it. So yeah, each to their own. But I'm definitely gonna check that out because horror nautical sounds amazing to me. So I'm gonna have to add
Thank
that
you.
to my
Yeah.
writing list now too. That sounds amazing. So that's super cool. Well, I definitely want to keep us moving with this next book because this it was really hard for me because I have to choose. I'm trying to choose like one product from each person. So, Weird Western, I think, like had me sold, but I'm definitely gonna have to read this one again soon. So what is your book, The Ice Moves for No One, about, and why should readers pick it up today? It's such a cool cover.
Thank you. So my elevator pitch is at shape-shifting lesbian sky Vikings. Um
Now
but
you
it's
now maybe I have to switch it now. It
so
sounds
yeah,
awesome.
shape-shifting lesbian sky Vikings. There's the technology is very like 1920s, 1930s based, but they're in a world with magic. The main character is a Selkie, and the it's this is the first book in a trilogy, so there will be three of these.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, my very bad not first draft, but like my very bad working draft of book two is with my editor, and I'm just like, oh man, but like I know that that's how I write. Like my early
Yeah,
drafts are so
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
But the I started this project as a short story because I
I get
desperately
that.
wanted to write an action hero character who was chronically ill and became disabled in the story.
Mm,
It was just something I really wanted to see and had not seen up to that point.
yeah.
And that's what got me started on it.
It's interesting. Well, it sounds really cool. I might have to flip flop now. You guys make it really hard for me. Everybody, like before, like people are like, this is my first book, this is my second book. I'm like, I'll just start with the first one. But now people
I
have such
like
cool like series and stuff.
I can say that this one officially has a gold sticker in
Oh, I did see
gay.
that. Oh, that's awesome. Where'd you get that
Yeah.
one from?
That's from the Story Trade Awards. It was a finalist
Oh,
in
that's
both
super cool.
fantasy and LGBTQ fiction.
Oh, that's super cool. Congrats. I totally saw that yesterday and my life happened.
Yeah, oh
I
yeah,
totally
yeah, yeah.
forgot. I knew I forgot like a subset question here. How did you come about to like for that? Did you apply or did they automatically have your book for a particular reason? All these contests are like different now. So,
I'm so confused on the contest entry, but for that particular one, my publisher entered it.
oh, that's cool. That's good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah, they're so good. That's Quills and Cosmos. They are like so good to their authors. Bless them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super
Yeah.
cool. That's actually good to know because I you're actually the first person that has said that to me that a publisher is done it on your behalf. So that like kind of just rearranges my entire thinking there for some things and kind of like advice that I give people sometimes, particularly for that kind of thing. So that's super awesome. But congrats. I saw the gold last night. So that's super awesome. And that's really cool that you got those categories. So that's like really awesome. So
Thank
I'm
you.
over here just trying to finish the book, you know. That's really cool. How did you come up with this idea though? Like that's just such or sorry, like a conglomeration of these like different elements. That's such a I love it personally because I always ask the genre question and my friends always tease me that know me. They're like, you don't actually like genres. I'm like, I don't because I think it's too restrictive. Like, and I think if we say like anything like what are the elements? Like that's like what I always ask people. I don't really care about genre. I like if you go like Richard Lee Byers, who I actually got to interview from Forgotten Realms fame on
Oh,
here. I'm trying to
cool.
have him back soon. He was like one of my five, right? Like him, Mel Odom, Bob, Elaine Cunningham, Troy Denning. I know I'm forgetting somebody there, but like they were like what made me want to write. So it was so cool to get to talk to him. But yeah, we talked a lot about that kind of thing, and yeah, it was super fun. But yeah, we talked about like different horror and fantasy elements, you know, and what he likes, and he loves horror, but he loves fantasy. So that's where I started to realize like, oh, I actually like to read and write things that are, you know, multi-genre. and have different elements of different things. So I'm kind of curious how you were able to, like, why did you put those particular things together into like a really, really cool sounding book?
So I started with a main character who is a Selkie, so she can transform between a human and a sea lion. And then I am really into different Nordic mythologies, and so I really wanted Huldra to be in the story. They're like the
Oh,
people,
that's cool.
if anybody doesn't know what they are, they're depicted usually as like these beautiful people who have hollow backs. And I wanted to do something with that really badly. And I'm like, I know
Mm.
that the Selkie also comes from Scandinavian mythology. And then the 1920s, 1930s vibe sort of came in organically when I started writing the first draft of the short story that would then become this whole thing. And there were cars. And I'm like, okay, so there's cars. So this is not like older, ye olden fantasy. And then I'm like, you know what? They're competing to get on an airship. So we've got airships. And I wanted the airships to be like based in real technology rather than
Mm.
like magic. So they function just
Oh, that's so smart.
like the Akron or the
Mm.
Hindenburg, but then they can travel through time. Don't tell anybody.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
but based on
Spoiler,
real
we'll put
tech.
it up.
Yeah, and then I around the time that I had kind of finished earlier drafts of book one, we traveled to Wyoming and I saw the Tetons for the first time, or Teton National Park, and I looked at this mountain, like this profile of these mountains as the plane was landing, and I thought, oh, that's a sleeping god. And then that became part of the story, and like this there's mountains that are like these mechanical god things slash mecha
Mm.
that are part of the world building. And so there's been like from its early stages there's been like a mechanical, I guess, diesel punk. Somebody was like, your writing is very diesel punk, so I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
I
going
like
with
that.
it. I'm like, thank you for
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
running
that's
with
super
it.
cool.
Like big
That's awesome.
um machines with both of my books have like machines with like some sort of sentience,
Mm.
some sort of soul.
Cool.
And then the one thing that really brought all the elements together into like the thing that I see in my head is
Mm.
music. I have like whole playlists while working on my different projects, and they all have like a vibe and like a set bunch of songs. So like music
Yeah, yeah.
is very important.
It's that Treasure Planet influence, like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
amazing music. Like my friend, we got in his car a couple years ago, and I guess now it was more than a couple years ago because I was living in like Michigan. So we probably moved to Arizona. So it's probably like 12 years ago, but like feels like yesterday. I guess that says a lot about me. But yeah, we get into his car, and I'm like, we just got out of like judo and jujitsu, and I'm like a double practice, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, what is this? And I was like, it sounds so familiar. And he goes, it's the Treasure Planet soundtrack. And I'm like,
So good.
they made that? He goes, no, I burned it from a CD or like cassette or whatever. And I was like so impressed by that. And like it was amazing. And I was like, and then like sometimes like you got to pick, right? Like what you wanted to roll to. So once we did like the warm-up learning aspect, like different people would switch it. I remember like somebody was like just choking me out at one point, and yeah, like somebody had switched the music, and I was like gurgling, like, is this the Treasure Planet soundtrack? And my friend was like, yeah. I'm like, he was like, yeah, like over on the side. And then I think I passed out at that point. But yeah, so I totally get it though. And I feel like we've had such great composers for a bunch of different like iconic movies like that. So I talk to a lot of authors and creatives, I feel like, who are they think that way, right? And I think it's different for younger generations because you just look it up or something. But we were like more, I think older generations are more, like even like 10 years ago, I think were more succinct with their music in particular because you had particular
Mm.
things that you could find easier, right? So I just find I'm a history teacher, so I find an interesting correlation between, music and writing and just being creative. I used to listen to 90s music because I like knew, the words. I didn't have to like pay attention. I could just write. Now I can't do anything with words. So I always find it
Mm.
interesting, people with that connection, but that's super cool. Well, that sounds amazing. So I'm glad you said there's going to be three of them because it definitely sounds like my kind of thing. Diesel Punk, I just heard that for the first time like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, sure, whatever you want to call it, I'm in. Like, sign
Yeah.
me up. I'll bring the gasoline or the diesel, whatever it runs on. Just tell me and I'll bring it. But I definitely want to talk. I know we're winding down time, but I definitely want to talk about this because this was so cool because I didn't know this until I redived back redove back into your site, and I'm so glad I saw this last night. So can you explain to us a little how you came to enter the Tulip Tree's ninth annual contest and how it felt being the
Yes.
grand prize winner in 2023? Because that's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that was one of the writing challenges that I entered thanks to my friend Lillian Cernica. That was when I first started
Good
using
friend there.
Duotrope, and I saw that there was this competition, and I had written basically an entire novel about
Mm,
the fire and like my weird, like my dad fighting the fire, our weird old cabin that survived. And the contest, I think, I want to say the upper
mm,
limit was like 7,000 words, and I had like
mm.
40,000 words. And so I
Wow.
just went through and just took out every single thing that wasn't necessary to the core story and wrote it as this like kind of surrealist memoir piece. Because it is a
Yeah.
memoir. It's all true, but again, the house
Oh, that's cool.
talks. Um, and that was the winner. And I think it really just gave me the confidence because like I
Oh
really up
yeah.
till that point I felt like does nobody is my writing just really bad? Like does nobody like it? Like what am I doing that
Mm,
people don't like? Because I people
yeah.
would read my stuff and they're like, we really love this. This is really good, but not for us. And like
Mm,
that was kind of the theme up until then. I've done a lot of like many submissions to many places, and it was always like, this is really solid. We really like this. No. And
mm.
it just, I really like thought like, I'm like, is my writing just bad? Like, what am I doing wrong? And it was kind of an affirming moment that maybe I'm just sending my work to the wrong fit. And
Yeah.
it was so
Yeah.
affirming. It's like, oh, it worked here. These people were looking for exactly what I submitted.
Mm,
And
that's cool.
yeah, it changed the way that I look for publishing opportunities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think I've read so many books lately that, and I've read some books that people I knew were like, "Oh, this is horrible," or "It was garbage," and then I read them and I was like, "What are you talking about?" They wanted like a straight fantasy or straight sci-fi, and this person like Clayton Snyder. Not that this happened to Clayton, but like Clayton Snyder has like a Blackthorn. It's like a mix of like I think you'd actually really like it. It's like a techno thriller kind of thing. I don't know. It's like really weird.
Ooh,
There's like spirits and ghosts and people can like harness them and there's like it's like a dystopian world, but there's like advanced tech and it's really good.
ooh,
I
that
have to
sounds really
yeah,
cool.
I just went back to it, but like oh my gosh, like yeah, I can't wait to like wrap it up because I love the way that Clayton puts horror elements and sci-fi or fantasy and whatever he's doing. But like some people might not like that, right? They want like something straight. And I'm like I think of like Philip K. Dick, right, or whatever, and or Dickman or whatever with like the Golden Compass. That doesn't fit into a genre, right? You can find it young adult, you can find it in classics, you can find it in fantasy, sci-fi. You kind of just need to know what it looks like, right, to find it in a used bookstore
Yeah.
or at Barnes and Noble, right? And like I've talked to librarians, I've talked to people. I'm like, how do you classify this book? They're like, whatever we decide. I'm like, there you go. Because to me, that's really genreous. But I think you hit the nail right on the head. I know a lot of people that are really frustrated with that, right? And I always tell people you just haven't found your audience yet, you know? So
Yeah.
I am your audience if that makes you feel any better. So if you ever want to, pick my brain or anything, like let me know. But yeah, I think it's all with, like how you market, yourself or your work. And I know that sounds redundant, but after a while, I think you just got to keep finding I think this is proof, right? You just got to find the right people because there's how
Yeah.
many, you know, people on the planet, like somebody's going to like your stuff. I had a friend who recently just translated his rights into German and all of a sudden, boom, books that have been out for 6 years, right? Like, I don't know, for whatever reason he decided to do that. Somebody asked, and now he like hit the charts over there. So I thought
I
that was pretty
love
cool.
that.
Yeah, right. Like maybe it's in the wrong language. You don't know. Aliens could come down tomorrow and be like, I really love this book, like whatever. So I'm really adamant about that. I think it takes a while for some people, but it feels great, right? When you get that satisfaction and the gratification that you got the book into the right hands. So I think that's
Yeah.
super cool. That's really cool. Well, I just wanted to mention that because I know a lot of people have been asking me about that or what I think about it lately. So I just was like, oh, that's kind of cool. We can talk about it right here. And then I can direct people to this episode where you talked about it and they can find out about your books too, which is super cool. We'll find more of your audience, right? Hopefully. So when it comes to creating unique worlds and characters your readers care about, what is your strategy?
well, okay. I think I start with characters who I want to see
I was gonna say,
and
yeah.
maybe characters I need to see.
Oh, I
Um,
like that. I like that.
and then I get into like what's at stake for them, why are they interesting, why are they not interesting. Fun fact, the main character of The Ice Moves for No One, her first chapter, she's so confident. Like she's I think the ending line of the first chapter is my name is Algrith Allen and I am going to win. And I
I
got
like that.
so many rejections from agents because they were like, oh, they just got the first chapter and they were like, we
Oh,
hate this character because she's so confident. And I'm like, give her a minute, give her a minute. Um,
the submission process sometimes, right? Like,
yeah, I'm like, give her a minute. Like she's like, I can't remember what chapter, but like the entire
yeah,
point of the book is she becomes disabled and can't achieve her goal. Like that's the whole point.
it's character growth, right? Like,
Like give her time.
yeah, yeah.
But I think like there's a I try to balance between like getting feedback from people, like, am I doing things that make this character like really unsavory that would be good to take out versus like what are the core elements that I brought to this character
Mm,
that I think need to be there, otherwise it's not the same character. And that's I think I'm pretty flexible on those things. So very much a balance between what's working versus not what's not working for like say my editor and like what is the core piece that I really wanted to see. So like example, if I was working with someone and they're like, okay, we understand that this character is like chronically ill, but we think that people won't like it if she stays that way. So what if at the end she gets cured? Like that would be a hard no for me because like I
mm.
don't get to be cured in real life. I just get to be like this. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you'll find other meaning. Like she's not being punished because she's
yeah.
ill. I hope that answers the question.
No, it totally does. Like, I have a thyroid disorder, so my skin is always discolored. My beard is. So I have kids ask me all the time, and uh, for a long time, I was like, "Can this just? I just want to be done." But then the longer I like have dealt with it and stuff over like over a decade or whatever, I'm just like, I wouldn't change it because it makes me more relatable, I think, to kids. And a lot of them have certain things and they can't just like snap their fingers. And I don't know, I learned a lot of
Yeah.
lessons about myself. And so I think like saving your character that at the end, I think like kind of like ruins the whole purpose of the in between, if that makes sense. So I totally get that. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that's just not how life is. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like, yeah, it's like an interesting thing. I totally agree with you. I'd be like, nah, it's a hard pass for me. So yeah, I would feel very cheapened then as the reader if that was like what happened, I think. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like, actually, sorry, spoilers. So if anybody hasn't seen the new Transformers movie, just pause here until you've seen it. But there's a young man actually who's really sick in it, and I was like really worried they were going to do that, right? And he kind of goes helps his brother, who's one of the main characters, like through this thing. And um he says like at the end, like, you helped me to get through this, it's very physically painful process and stuff. He's like, don't quit. And I love that. But at first I thought like the Transformers or something was gonna like, cure him or whatever. And I was like, oh, I kind of felt
Yeah.
like that would cheapen this, this moment and this growth between these characters. But they didn't do that. They actually like let it go, and it actually built onto some other stories and stuff. So, but I like that because for me that was more realistic. And I don't know, I just felt like the character development was better that way. So if you guys are still watching and you came back, you see exactly what I mean from that movie. Like, I think that was like a really good way that they did it to actually be meaningful, impactful, and reflective of actual people. So I also hate when people like use stuff like that as like trope stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I see
Oh
people do
yeah.
that
Mhm.
sometimes with like, you know, yeah. I just, especially with like certain needs and stuff, and it just kind of drives me nuts. Like, we're just doing it for like a thing or whatever. And I kind of feel that's how it is too, is like, oh, we're just using this type of character or their experience to do a thing. I don't know, it feels tropey sometimes to me. So I like the more
I,
authentic approach.
I
So
know exactly what you mean.
yeah, it gets kind of, yeah. I saw that recently in something. I was like, I had to like stop watching. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't like it when people do that to that degree. So I totally get you there. Now I know we're running down on time, but I'm really interested in this question for you. If you could visit one place in any of your stories, which one would it be and why?
This is a hard one because
I know.
my initial response would be I would want to visit the world where Black Rose takes place, but I think I would
Mm,
probably die in that world. So I'm going to go with the setting of the ice moves for no one, specifically because I want to see the Boreac, which is the mountain range god slash diesel powered mecha.
Cool.
That's part of
That would
it's
be
part of the
cool.
landscape. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I would really want to see her.
Oh, that'd be cool. It's a really good
Yeah.
answer. I had somebody gave me this question and I've been tweaking it for people. They're like, I want to know this about this one author. And then they sent me it again, a little bit different for a creative. I think it was for the Ren who wrote the Mark crew. So I've been tweaking it ever since. And you guys always give like really good, unique answers that I don't think we would have thought of. So I think it's good to be reflective of your own work sometimes. So, because, just to think like, why do I want to be here or not be here? And will other people want to be, in these places too? Or maybe they don't want to be, right? And maybe that tells you you wrote it really well or made it really dangerous, right? So that actually intrigues me more about Black Rose even more. So I think that's super cool.
Yeah,
So,
there's stuff in the Black Rose sitting that if
yeah.
there's one route that I wouldn't die initially, like I think I could live a really good life under certain circumstances, but then I would be hunted by other people. So there's that. So probably not
Such
the
a
Black Rose universe.
yeah, yeah. Such a great answer. Well, I can't wait to read that and figure out why you wouldn't survive and why I wouldn't survive either. I think that's really cool. Do you have any other news updates, current projects, anything like that you can share with us today?
Yeah, early next year, please check out This Song Is Not For You, Nautical Horror from Graveside Press. And
Sold.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. And is it appropriate to do a I don't know if this is appropriate. Can you edit it out if it's not the right thing for a video? Can you like
Oh,
blip
sure,
it
that's
out?
fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right
Both
now, we'll say pause.
okay, yeah. Both of my titles are eligible for awards that have to have people like the Horror Writers Association
Oh,
or
that's
like the
cool.
I can't think of the acronym, the fantasy people. I'm so sorry, fantasy people. SIFWA. Um,
Spiffo or which? There's so many
yeah,
now.
I think it's like SIFWA, but
Sifwa. Okay, okay.
both of them are eligible for nomination if someone is
Oh,
feeling
that's so cool.
generous.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. Oh, that's
I would
awesome.
I would love to return the favor, but so far I'm not a member of either organization. I'm
Gotcha.
hoping
Yeah.
soon to join. I qualify, I just haven't
Yep.
gotten through the process yet.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't blame you. Yeah, I had some friends that are going through that same process as well. So I wish them and you luck. I know sometimes that takes a little longer, right? And can get a little aggravating for my friend. He's not patient at all. So I totally understand that. But good luck. That sounds amazing. I feel good about your chances based off of your past like, experience and stuff. So that's super cool. I just want to remind our audience that you can find all the books and everything, the social links in the description, anywhere where you're watching or listening to this audio. So we also want to make sure that everybody is reviewing those products for everybody, whether they're book, movie, audio, whatever format you're finding any of our authors' creatives works. Please make sure you're reviewing them. It's the best way that they've been able to be seen. And thank you everybody so much for checking us out today. Please make sure you check out Arlo's work in the description. I already have, so it's been really difficult to go back and forth. If the next book's going to be out though, like I don't know. I still feel like Black Rose is like my thing right now, so that might have to be like my entry into your work. But I am doing part one and part two. You're in my part two for reading lists for 2026, so I do videos
Ooh.
for that. So yeah, I'm like really excited about that. So, but if there's anything else we can do for you in the meantime, just let me know. We'll be more than happy to help you out and get any information. If you have any like voting stuff or anything like that, that we can share in our podcast group on Facebook. You're always welcome to join that and to to share anything that you want with us. So I can send you that link. But other than that, I hope you have a good rest of the day and good luck with everything. But I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was an
Yeah, no
honor.
problem. Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Okay.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.